this Saturday, this Animation Saturday, Animation Sunday. It's cartoons on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. That's what we do here on the AKAPAD podcast. We're talking 1977. We're going 100 years into the past to bring you The Hobbit today. A lot of you may not even know, but The Hobbit, it was a cartoon for a long time before we got those Peter Jackson movies. That's Hobbit technically is a trilogy of movies, but it's a cartoon, and it should be a cartoon. It should always have been a cartoon. We gotta talk about it. Animation Weekend. Let's go.
Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Action!
The guys, let's just paint the picture. The guys that did the stop and go animation of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Cold Miser, Frosty the Snowman, all the work that inspired A Nightmare Before Christmas. Those guys did animation. They actually did sell cartoons, one frame at a time, one cellophane sheet at a time. If you watch the 1977 Hobbit on a bright new backlit television, you see some of the cells the way that they were photographed, but you see the photography, you see shadows where some of it is imperfect during the animation. Some of the animation is actually highlighted. We see more, and because of that, maybe we're taken out of the experience. I've been watching The Hobbit since television. I remember it coming on TV. I remember buying the clamshell VHS when it was re-released. I bought the slip VHS covers. It had this awful khaki color. I bought that and Lord of the Rings at my local Blockbuster for a couple dollars when they clearanced them out. And the entire time, The Hobbit was a good adaptation that I remembered reading. I've read the book. There was a cartoon. A lot of it matched up. Is all of it in there? No. Is it ever is? No. But then these Lord of the Ring movies happen. And we're all collectively blown away. Even though, I will always say this, Return of the King should have had death. There should have just been people dying in Return of the King. That's what we all wanted to see. We never got it. We never got it. You have to go off the source material sometimes. But no. But collectively, the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings trilogy is the best adaptations, the best choices. Every single one of those movies, Fellowship, The Twin Towers, Return of the King, they're all Oscar-worthy Best Pictures. But then The Hobbit happens. The movie was supposed to have been directed by Guillermo del Toro. He's one of my favorite movies to watch and rewatch, Pacific Rim. That guy. But it doesn't quite happen. He had 2 movies planned. Now, it's of lore. It's of legend. It's of the saga of how Peter Jackson got through and got into the Hobbit movies, got through all of the productions. It's complicated. But then again, everything Hollywood is. Everything's a book. Just how some of these movies get made. Can you imagine the unwritten books of Hollywood? But we get this. And during all of this time, The Hobbit. Now, there was 2 other movies that wanted to tell the story, because that's kind of what happens with Lord of the Rings. It doesn't matter where you start. You have to finish it, and then you have to go into the past as much as you can and potentially even go forward as much as you can. Lord of the Rings fires up this dopamine, this I want to know more, I want to see more. It does something crazy inside the mind of the dork, of the film buff, of the geeks, what was it? Where Wizards Sleep at Night, or Where Wizards Sleep. It's this book about the creation of the internet, essentially. And even early on, those guys are getting to Lord of the Rings. I think they were called like fire boards at the time before they were message boards. But they would just torch each other and argue about Lord of the Rings. That's like some of the first internet arguments. With all of that, you would think people would arrive at this movie. But they haven't. They haven't arrived at the Lord of the Rings or the animated Return of the King. There's been no re-arrival, no re-emergence, no rediscovery. This movie is just awesome. It's perfect. It's got songs. I love the music. It fits. The drawing style fits. The way we get onto our adventure, it fits. This movie has spiders. It has Smaug. It has Gollum. The whole scene with Gollum and Bilbo in the cave where Bilbo acquires the ring. And we can call it the ring. We don't have to call it the Ring of Power. It's the ring. It's there. And it's enjoyable. It's just nice to watch. It's not heavy-handed. It's not overly dramatic. Peter Jackson with his Hobbit trilogy, that's, I think with the expanded editions, it's still 9 hours or close to it. He's got to make those movies butt into Lord of the Rings. He's got to tell a little bit of this gray area that we don't know too much about between the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. Peter Jackson has to do that. But what if we sat down to watch The Hobbit, and then we watched Fellowship of the Ring? What if we just did that? Because I think that's the way to watch these movies. This is the way it works. I think The Hobbit, as a trilogy, it's tough. But you know what this movie made me do? It made me go right to HBO Max and start watching The Hobbit yet again. I've tried to watch and rewatch all three of those movies. I think I saw the last one in the theaters. I somewhat recall that. Maybe. It's really weird. It's like really weird. I don't know. I don't remember if I saw any of the Hobbits in theater. But this movie's directed by Arthur Rankin Jr., I believe, and Jules Bass, or Bass Jules. These guys are capable animation experts. You always have to consider time frame and budget when you watch an animated movie. I think both were used very well. I will go back to it. I absolutely love the design work in this movie. I wish we got more of it. If you want nods of the design work, go to Thundercats. A lot of the memorable characters in Thundercats are outside the Thundercats, but mostly a lot of the villains they derive from this movie. So AKAPAD, it's available on a lot of streaming services, but today, do me a favor, get out there, grab yourself some cereal, and watch The Hobbit. I love this movie. I really do.
Okay, that's a wrap.